Well, Congress is taking a spring break this week, a chance for makers to spend some time at home to see what the constituents are saying.
Mark Pocan represents Wisconsin's 2nd District and is with us today with impressions of his first 3 months on the job.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Anything stick out so far?
Washington is a dysfunctional place. I don't think it's a shock to anyone, but it just means there's, all the more challenges and ways to figure out how to get something done, which we've been doing pretty much every week we've been there. But there's certainly a level of dysfunction that is everything you would expect and then some. But, there's also a lot of other avenues to try to get things done.
So it's more than you expected?
Yeah, the partisanship. My first 2 weeks of training, they took all the Democrat and Republican freshmen, 81 of us, and kept separating the Democrats and Republicans for all but one dinner and one reception in 2 weeks. So they teach you bad behavior from day one. So you really have to go out of your way to try to meet people on the other side of the aisle. And we've been doing that. We've been having dinner with the Wisconsin delegation, the Republicans on the other side of the aisle, and things like that. But it's a little more work to get it done. But we're going to keep working on that.
And on a lighter note, the tie.
I know.
You have to wear a tie now.
Yeah, for 12 of my 14 years in the legislature, I didn't. And now they've changed the rules since I've left. You have to vote on the floor, you have to have a tie. So I'm accepting the tie.
Do you think this budget impasse can be taken care of? Do you think, can these parties talk to each other and work this out?
Yeah, we just passed a continuing resolution, and that's all that we've been doing year after year are these little short punts. But we don't really sit down with two budgets and, like we did in Wisconsin, actually hash out our differences. In Wisconsin, I spent 8 hours a day, 3 days a week for 4 months hashing out a budget, and every line meant something. They just don't do that in Washington. So whether it's the sequester, whether it's the debt ceiling fights, or the continuing resolutions, Washington just has a tendency to not really think big, and think globally. And I think that's part of, with 81 freshmen, 20% of Congress, that's part of our advantage. We're not part of those past problems, so that we can find ways to try to get around that and have things operate a little differently.
I think you can't not talk about the same-sex argument that's going on right now. You're openly gay, Congressman. How is this fight? What does it mean for you personally?
Yeah, well, I think just the fact that it's historic, that the Supreme Court's actually taking this up today and tomorrow. And I think the real importance is that we're finally recognizing that any two people who love each other and want to make a commitment to each other, we should do that. And it's happening in more and more states across the country. But because of the federal ban on DOMA, we can't extend the federal benefits to these people who have the state recognition. And I think under the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution, it's important that we recognize these marriages equally. So personally, I was married 6.5 years ago in Canada. I would love to be able to have the same rights and responsibilities that other couples have. And I think that this debate this week is really bringing it to the national forefront.
Not special rights, the same rights.
Same rights. We are as boring as any of our neighbors as far as, we all take out garbage the same day, everything else. There's really no difference. The only difference is in the state of Wisconsin, where there's over 200 rights and responsibilities through our domestic partnership law. I have about access to 43 of them. There's over 1,000 federal rights and responsibilities. I have access to none.
There have been several Republicans who have changed their stance on this lately. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's huge. When you saw Senator Rob Portman last week say he supports gay marriage, you got to remember he was one of the 3 finalists to be the vice president on the Republican ticket. That's big. And just since then, Senator Claire McCaskill, Senator Mark Warren, and the senator from Alaska have all come out and said they support marriage equality. This is just in a few days. So you are seeing this exponential growth. But the real important part is the last public opinion poll. 58% of the people in the country support marriage equality. And of 18 to 29-year-olds, 81%. This is an issue that, especially on the youth end, people really are in strong support. And I think the public in general is ahead of elected leadership on this. So we're not the leaders on this issue. The public.
5 or 10 years from now, we're going to go, what was that all about, right?
Oh, it'll be interesting to look back. Just like in the other fights that we've had for civil rights in the country, it's going to be very similar.
Mark, thank you. Keep up the good work. All right.